Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today, gonna do the what's next on the reigning IBF Cruiserweight Champion of the world, three-time Cruiserweight Champion of the world, Mairis Breidis. He was the World Boxing Super Series winner from Season 2 when he defeated Junior Dorticos by a convincing 12-round unanimous decision. Took the IBF title in a fight that most people, myself included, thought Dorticos was going to beat him and knock him out in. And he came out, fought his ass off, and cleanly outboxed Dorticos and got the biggest win of his career and won the World Boxing Super Series. And he took about a year off, flirted with moving up to heavyweight, which is still an option, but he took on some guy named Arthur Mann on Saturday the 16th of October and dominated him, stopping him in only 3 rounds. Retained his IBF belt as he contemplates his future. He said afterwards that a move up to the heavyweight division is still possible, but there's other options on the table, like staying at cruiserweight and big fights there. So let's run through the top 10 and see what could be next for the reigning #1 cruiserweight in the world, the IBF champion Mairis Breidis. So obviously he's #1, as I said. So we're going to look at #2 right now, which would be a rematch with Junior Dorticos. Dorticos has decided to stay at cruiserweight. This fight doesn't make sense, though. He cleanly outboxed him. He does not need to take the chance to fight Dorticos again right now, so I don't see this one happening. #3 is reigning WBC champion Ilunga Makabu. Makabu just, I think, came to terms for his mandatory title defense against Tabiso Mushunu. Now, could that fight, a unification with Makabu, possibly happen after that? Yeah, sure, but we don't know. First off, we don't know when the fight with between Makabu and Mushunu is going to take place. And also, we don't know if Makabu still has to make 2 mandatory defenses, because the WBC last year told him he had to fight back-to-back mandatories in Mushunu, and then after that, Alexei Papin, which are both rematches for Makabu. So I'm thinking that the WBC champion Ilunga Makabu is not possible for Mairis Breidis as a possible next option. But you never know with the WBC. They might do away with Alexei Papin's mandatory, and a fight between Breidis and Makabu just might be possible in the first half of next year. #4 is the undefeated and reigning WBO champion Lawrence Okolie. Now, this is a fight that was discussed earlier in the year after Okolie knocked out Krzysztof Kowalski. Okolie ended up making a mandatory in his last bout against some guy named, I forget his name, Plasevich or something. He knocked him out in a couple rounds, and this is the fight that Okolie wants. He wants to fight Mairis Breidis next in a unification bout. So if Breidis wants to fight, the fight can be made. So we're out waiting around to see if Breidis wants this fight with Okolie. It's a tough bout. It really is for Breidis, but Breidis has been there, done that. If he wants to unify and get on top of the division, possibly become an undisputed champion, then the road goes through Lawrence Okolie. And he is a popular guy right now and been doing well. So we're going to see, but I would love to see that fight, and I hope that it does happen. #5 is a rematch with Noel Gavor. This is a fight that Mairis Breidis does not need, so he probably shouldn't take it. If he wanted to take this fight to let everybody know, like, hey, I was the better man, I don't care what anybody says, then that's another thing, but I don't think it's a fight he needs. He's proven that he's the best cruiserweight in the world. He has. Yes, did he get a gift decision? Absolutely he did when they fought in their first fight in the quarterfinals of the World Boxing Super Series Season 2. They fought in 2018, and he was #1 coming in, and he handpicked Noel Gavor, and Gavor cleanly outboxed him, outworked him, and deserved a decision, but Breidis got a gift decision and walked away and into the semifinals, and ended up winning the tournament. So I think it's fair to say that he overlooked them. Gavor hasn't done anything since that fight in 2018. It's been about 3 years now. So Breidis does not need this rematch. Nobody's calling for it. It would be simply about pride, and I just don't think Breidis cares. So I don't see this one being a possibility. Number 6 is contender Alexei Papin. Now, it's definitely a good fight. It's a good matchup. But Breidis, you know, he might have other options. He can unify if he wants, but Papin also might be tied to that other mandatory I was talking about with Ilunga Makabu. He might be next for the winner of Makabu and Mashunu. So we just have to wait and see what that situation is like. But I don't think Papin would say no to a showdown with Mairis Breidis if Breidis wanted to fight him. But he might, because he might want that rematch with Makabu. So we'll see. But I don't see this one. I'm just not seeing it next for Breidis. Number 7 is Misael Cieslak, former world title challenger. Now, Cieslak, for a minute there, people thought Cieslak was getting the crack at Mairis Breidis, and he definitely could be in line to, you know, be if he wins a final eliminator. But I haven't heard anything about it, you know, since that initial rumors earlier in the year that he could have been the next opponent. Next thing you know, Breidis was fighting Arthur Mann. So I'm leaning towards the less likely, but Cieslak is highly rated in the IBF, and if he just wins an eliminator, he gets right back in the mix. And remember, he barely lost that fight to Ilunga Makabu in Makabu's home country when they fought for the WBC title. So, and that was just in, I believe that was at the beginning of 2020. So Cieslak is a very highly touted contender right now, and he wants to get back in the mix. So he could be next. He could come out in the next couple months, win a final eliminator, and get a shot at Breidis. So you never know. Number 8 is veteran Mateusz Masternak. This is another one of those fights I wouldn't be surprised if Breidis decided to take it just to fight a veteran and to keep rolling. But he has other bigger options, and I think Breidis wants to cash in on some of those bigger options. I don't think he wants to take these kind of fights anymore. I think he views himself as a player, as a big time player. And you know what? In all fairness, he kind of is. You know, he won the World Boxing Super Series. His only loss is to the now unified heavyweight champion of the world, Alexander Usyk. And he deserves, Mairis Breidis really deserves some credit. And he does not need to go into fights against guys that, you know, aren't going to make him money. He's going to make good money, especially at home in Latvia. But, you know, he needs to, in my opinion, it should be world champions or top tier contenders. And I'm sorry, former champ Masternak isn't either one of those right now. So, I mean, former contender Masternak isn't one of those right now. Number 9 is Tapiso Mashunu. Not possible. Mashunu's fighting Ilunga Makabu. If he wins that fight, I think he has a showdown with Alexei Papin. If not, then I think the fight could be possible for early next year. And then lastly is Riyad Merhi, who's a top contender right now. He's going to be at some point fighting for the WBA belt in that little mix that they got there. But right now for Mairis Breidis, he can pretty much fight whoever the hell he wants. But does he really want to fight Lawrence Okoli? I think in all likelihood in the top 10, I think that's the most logical opponent. And I say, why not? Go after him. But, you know, there's other possibilities like Misael Cieslak, Alexei Papin. If you wanted to cash in on those, he should. I think the WBA title is kind of swarmed by them trying to get the super title and the regular title jammed together. So that doesn't look likely right there. So if he really wants to unify, Lawrence Okoli is the biggest fight and the best option right now. If he doesn't and he just wants to take on contenders, I would love to see him and Misael Cieslak or Alexei Papin. If he wanted to give Noel Gavor another crack at it, I think people would respect that. And, you know, there's also Mateusz Masternak sitting there. So not a lot of huge fights, but I'd love to see the showdown with Okoli, and I hope Mairis Breidis continues to try to prove why he's the #1 cruiserweight in the world. You know, and I hope to see him and Okoli in the ring. So we'll see what happens, but that's the what's next on reigning IBF cruiserweight champion, #1 cruiserweight in the world, Mairis Breidis. I hope you guys enjoyed this. True Boxing, you've been hit with the truth.